Do you really want to carry a knife? And are you aware of what the consequences are?
My son was gone in 30 seconds.
Building relationships with those trusted adults is really, really important.
You become who you surround yourself with.
It can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any moment.
One bad chapter doesn't determine the book.
It's really important that you really know who your friends are.
And he just looked like he was sleeping.
If it feels wrong, there's no way that wrong will make it right one day, no way.
Speak to a trusted adult as soon as possible.
Speaking up isn't a weakness. Speaking up isn't a weakness.
This guy's a kid.
Walk around.
He was the joker of the family. You could hear his laugh from a mile away. If he was outside playing, you could hear his laugh before you could actually see him. His presence was so loud in the house. Now you could just hear a pin drop. He used to always love scaring me. I used to finish work and he'd be hiding behind a curtain in my bedroom and he'd jump out the wall.
What are you doing there?
Shut up! Wait, join me. Somebody else is coming.
How do you think this is not bush?
He used to get out the shower and he used to have bouncy, curly hair. And the moment he got out of the shower, he'd just do that with his hair and just waft all the water all over you. So things like that I miss, but most important thing, like, he was my baby and he is sadly missed.
Nathaniel enjoyed chats with friends. He was a joker. He could just crack a joke. When he's in classroom, when the class is quiet, Nathaniel would just come in and break the ice. So the school burst into laughter, and the teacher would just say, "Oh, Nathaniel, what are you like?" You understand? So he was that kind of boy. At home, he was just a normal chap, chatting, PlayStation with his friends. You know, there's online games. But never did it cross our mind as parents that there was something else going on in the school side.
I was becoming a product of my environment. My mum was quite ill. Now dad wasn't around. I didn't just wake up one day and say, right, today I'm going to be a criminal. I woke up one day and I tried to find a way to survive. I tried to find a bit of purpose in life. This led me to going out with a lot of my friends. Maybe at the start playing a bit of knock-a-door run at a young age.
Get the cash ready, yeah?
But escalated quite quickly into drug dealing. Once we started to get into high school, now due to the music that we're listening to, now we're carrying knives. And it wasn't that someone turned around to me one day and said, "Keenan, carry this knife." If anything, I put that pressure on myself. It's because I wanted to fit in.
The power of love. Keep looking at me and now they're on my nerves.
Dodgy hand.
I couldn't leave it.
As I want you.
Get out!
As a friend.
I want to find the song.
As a known enemy.
Now, a lesson that I like to explain to a lot of these young people is you become who you surround yourself with. Unfortunately, I didn't have a role model to tell me that I wasn't the right crowd.
I'm a big advocate for young people. I think that knife crime is a societal issue. It's something that every adult, every young person has a part to play, and it's not something that you can say directly is the fault of young people. Knife crime, for me, is an issue that affects young people. It's not necessarily an issue that is caused by young people.
Sadly, there aren't many warning signs. Yes, people's behaviour can sometimes be obvious. If a young person comes home and perhaps has got stuff that they don't normally have, trainers or extra money, it might be they're being exploited or pressured into maybe drug dealing or other types of exploitation. And that's why it's really important when you recognise these little signs to have those conversations and check, are you okay?
I had a friend in school and he come in one day and he had his head shaved off. I imagine one of your friends come in and had their head shaved off, you're going to probably laugh at him. And we did. "Why is your head shaved off, mate?" My dad found me with a knife. Oh, wow, fair enough. A few years later, that same person ended up stabbing someone and killing him. Now that situation could have been avoided if his dad just went, "Son, why do you feel like you need to carry that knife? And a few years later, when he wanted to carry that knife again, he may have gone, "Do you know what, Dad? I want to carry a knife, let's have a talk about it." But he remembered that the last time his dad found out he had a knife, he shaved his head off. So unfortunately, maybe he didn't feel like he had someone around him to support him. I remember one of my teachers was involved in the 90s Gunchester gangs. Police! And he explained to me how he got caught into it and ended up going to jail. He got into a car with some of his friends, and friends unfortunately killed someone. And my teacher didn't even do anything, he was just in the car, but he got brought into that due to joint enterprise. A few years down the line, some of my friends was in a car, and he turned around to me and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go do this to this individual." And for some weird reason, that memory come back into my head. Police! Now that message was what stopped me from getting in that car, and that message was what essentially stopped me from going to jail that day.
Tell me, what is your favorite?
We are listening.
Student, you know?
It's just sometimes we may act like we're not.
My son was receiving too many messages on his phone. And what he did was to hide the phone so we don't see what's going on the phone. Because I could have said, "Why are you always on your phone?" There's nothing wrong for a parent to ask you guys, why are you going where you're going? Who are you with? They have the duty. Nathaniel, his friend, was robbed. They go and rob this guy and start provoking Nathaniel to come and take it back. So my son felt that he has a duty to go and help his friend. He just said, "Oh, hey, Mom, I'm coming, I'll be back in half an hour." That half an hour, he never turned back home. So he left home at 5:30. By 6 o'clock, he was dead. My son was gone in 30 seconds. Took me 15 years to raise him. Which parent could have guessed that this journey my son is taking is going to be lethal to him? No, nobody.
On the 9th of September 2021, it was Romero's first day at college. Throughout the day, he kept texting me, saying, "Mom, I'm in the wrong class." So I was messaging him back, saying, "Get in the right class," this, that, and the other. I eventually got to my sister's. We were sat down, just generally talking. Then my phone rang. So I picked it up, and it was Meryl's friend's mum. And she went, "Kelly." She was like, "Meryl's been stabbed." We were just driving down towards Old Trafford because we didn't know where we was going to find him. And as soon as I got to the lights there, my heart sunk. It was like I was in a movie. There was just flashing lights, police, road taped off, ambulance. So at that point, I screamed at my sister. The car was still going. I opened the car door, jumped out, ran to the ambulance. And I was like, "Please, please, let me in, it's my son." The ambulance just drove off. And my heart sank. I just knew he weren't going to be okay. So I'm screaming at my sister. She's going through red lights again. My hands started spasming. My whole body just went into shock. I couldn't breathe. My phone was on 5% and I answered it. And Dad went, "Kelly?" And I went, "Yeah." And he said, "He'd gone." I never got to say goodbye. I think the hardest thing is running into the hospital, and seeing him there, and he just looked like he was sleeping. But then being told you can't touch him because there's a crime scene. The only thing I was allowed to do was stroke his eyebrow. So yeah. Oh God. That's the hardest moment of my life, losing your child. The perpetrators told court they just wanted to scare him. So that's why they stabbed his legs. They hit his main artery, and that's what killed him.
I don't think this is something young people can solve on their own, and they shouldn't have to.
Right, guys, you can all pack up now.
There are so many trusted adults out there, so many great human beings who are there to help. So I think my number one advice is to know who your circle of trust is. And if something like this was to come up,
Do you want to just come chat to me?
you'd go to that adult that you trust and you'd be able to share, and they'd be able to help you to find out what to do.
A lot's going on.
People say over time it gets easier and it gets better, but it doesn't. Over time it gets harder. You miss them more and more. You just know they're not coming back. Learning to deal with my grief is putting all my pain and turn it into help saving lives with other children, and that's why I've set up a charity in memory of Meryl.
The message I would say for any young person is find your trusted group, your real sincere friends.
Choose who are best for you.
Know who your real friends are.
A real friend won't pressure you.
Building relationships with those trusted adults is really, really important.
If it feels right, it's right. And if it feels wrong,
Say something.
One bad chapter doesn't determine the book. They have the pen and they can determine where their story ends.
You can still change your story.
This very terrible thing happened to us, but the goodness I've seen after it is what's got me through. There's a lot of people doing stuff to help. Youth workers, teachers, neighbours, everyone can play their part.
Everyone can play their part.
Everyone
Can play their part.
No one has to do it alone.
Have you ever done something out of anger and regretted it? Now imagine you had a knife in your hand in that situation. It can become deadly. Don't allow your emotions to build up.
Talk it through instead.
Just don't pick up that knife, value your own life, and just make the right choices.
Your life matters.
you can only be a child once. So enjoy your childhood.
Make it count.
The most important thing I say to all young people that I work with is to keep themselves safe.
They're the ones what matter, the young people, so we have to let their voice be heard.
Our voices matter.
We can speak up.
Speaking up isn't a weakness.
It's strength.